All right, we now welcome on a very awesome guest, Frederick, Maryland native, a 2018 gold medalist in the Pyeongchang Paralympics, gold medalist in the 2019 Ostrava World Championships, and silver medalist in the 2017 World Championships. Team USA sled hockey player Noah Grove. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey guys, thank you for having me on.
No problem. Glad to have you on. I was pumped. Sandy shot me that text the other day and was like, "Hey man, like you want to get Noah Grove on, like Olympic medalist, sled hockey player?" I was like, "Hell yeah, dude, Maryland kid, why not? Let's do it." So do you train a lot down there? You hang out with Sandy a bit?
Yeah, I've been training with him for I think like 3 months now. I just wanted to get some extra training in since a lot of our camps got postponed and moved around. So wanted to keep fresh, keep in shape. That's been the goal.
I feel you. Do you take the sled down there and all, and that synthetic ice and everything? How's
Yeah,
that? How like what's the difference?
there's not as much glide,
Yeah,
so it's actually helped my stride a
really makes you
lot.
work.
Yeah, you're working
Yeah,
those arms.
yeah, for sure. Um, he's helped a lot though. He's cleaned up a lot of like form that he was able to translate from stand-up hockey to sled hockey. So that kind of stuff has been a huge help.
Love it, love it. So we'll start here, and obviously, you wouldn't be on the sled hockey team unless it weren't for the amputated leg. So, kind of take us through that story for you and how that all came about, and just give the listeners kind of a backstory before we get into the actual hockey itself.
Yeah, for sure. So in 2004, I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, otherwise known as bone cancer. I had to have my left leg amputated through the knee that summer. I was on chemo for about 8 months and got my first prosthetics like after that. I didn't get into sled hockey until I just typically played able-bodied sports. I, didn't see myself as disabled. I didn't need a wheelchair, just had the
Right.
prosthetic. I can move around really well. So as a kid, I grew up playing, just all your typical sports like baseball, soccer, basketball, that kind of thing. Um, but in 2011, my mom introduced me to the Kennedy Krieger Institute, who had a sled hockey team, and they were holding like a tri sled hockey event. And they've been asking me to join for ever since I was in the hospital. Actually, they had reached out. I was at Georgetown Pediatric Hospital,
Gotcha.
um, and Kennedy Krieger's located in Baltimore, and they had asked me to come try sled hockey. So, my mom said, "Get in the car, we're going somewhere," and I tried sled hockey. They fell in love, and the rest is history.
So she kind of like forced it on you in a way. She's like, "Hey, well, I'm not going to tell him we're going to try hockey, but we're going
Yeah,
to try hockey."
it sounded like it was a little reluctant on your end, perhaps, right?
Yeah, I wasn't the most adventurous kid back then, that's for sure.
So initial reaction showing up to play sled hockey, were you like, "What the hell are we doing here, mom? Like, come on."
I had followed hockey a bit, like with the Caps being here and all, but
Yeah,
we weren't really a big hockey family. Like
right.
uh my granddad and dad were both in the horse racing industry. My dad was all state soccer player growing up in high school. My brother played soccer, so like we were big like soccer family essentially, and um I got hooked on it, to be honest. I wish I had started earlier.
I didn't
Love
start
it, love
skating until I was 8. I wish I started earlier, man.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So what we do with all the local guys on these episodes is just kind of take it in order of your career. So we just went through how you kind of got started in hockey, but when was the first time, or who was the first club you got with, and then kind of progressed us up into kind of when you got to the development camp
Yeah,
there.
was Kennedy Krieger? You said that was the first team that reached out to you.
Yeah, so their sled hockey team, the Bennett Blazers, they had a junior sled hockey team. They're an institute for mental and physical disabilities. They have physical therapy, things along of that nature, and they had like a bunch of sports for disabled children. And so I played like a bunch of sports with them growing up. I did a triathlon. I played some wheelchair basketball, wheelchair softball. I was involved with them pretty heavily. But sled hockey was my main sport. My first, I think I played 2 years of juniors before I ended up getting moved up to an adult team. But that was just because I made the development team. Um, but I played against like a bunch of kids who eventually made the development team and made the national team. Like my roommate on the national team, Jack Wallace, we made the team the same year. We played against each other in juniors, played against each other in adults on the development team together, all that good stuff.
You were talking about the development team. What was that process like? Was that again? You reached out or found a tryout, or did they find you?
So yeah, so that process involves going from your coach will recommend you for the development camp that happens
Okay.
in Buffalo, New York every summer. And it's the sled development camp. They have a bunch of different age groups for like stand-up players. Like a lot of like the NHL guys like from the US like go through there. Like they all go through that program. A lot of the women's national team players, like they'll also like go to those camps. And then they also have the sled camp, which is the development camp is mainly for like younger players who are looking to make the development team at one point, but also
Right.
guys like adults who haven't been playing the sport for as long and have potential and could potentially make the development team. There's always like some kind of someone who's either in a car accident or they were in the military and like who hadn't been playing as long. And then there's kids who come from all walks of life, whether they were born that
We'll
way.
kind of get to that, but is the majority of it military guys?
No,
Or no, it's just kind of all spread out?
yeah, on the national team there's 7 military guys, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken.
So how big is the para hockey community? I know, I mean, you go to UNH, but I think you're home right now, right? But you're skating with Sandy. Is there places for you to practice with a team, or do you have a team up north when you're away at school? How do you stay sharp for the national program?
Yeah, so I actually transferred to Towson University
Okay.
fall of 2019.
Got to fact check that.
Yeah,
That's on me.
That's okay. But
Call USA Hockey and complain that their bios aren't updated.
yeah, I'll call them. But I still play for the University of New Hampshire team. They typically have strict rules. I know we're getting a bit off track, but they typically have strict rules on like who you can play for club and all that. But I said, look, like these are some of my best friends. Like there's a reason I went
Right.
up here to school. Like I want to play with them. But as far as like staying sharp and a lot of guys get like personal trainers. Like we get stipends specifically to pay for whatever kind of trainer we want and equipment we need. You can see the skier G I have right here in the background. I'm on that like every other day. They help us with ice time and everything, but for the most part, like guys will get together on their own. Like I think we've met like unofficially probably about a dozen national team players like for each unofficial event just to skate and with each other and be around each other and just to keep sharp since we're not having camps. But typically we would have a camp like every month with club games every month, and everyone's pretty much on their own.
Do you have national teammates around the area, or at least in the relatively close area?
I think the closest is like Massachusetts.
So no.
No, not at all.
I'm kind of curious as you talk about training. What is that training process like in terms of like when you're working out and trying to perfect your game? It's got to be totally different than somebody who's training that's like on the high school team or something. Like what muscles are you working? What body parts are you working? Are you working those hands and wrists a lot since you're turning and cutting? Like what's that training program like?
Right. So it is pretty similar to stand-up hockey, but instead of focusing like a lot on like leg strength and explosiveness in your legs, it's shoulders, lats, delts, triceps, that kind of like all upper body for sure.
Love it.
We wouldn't excel. We wouldn't excel at that.
Yeah, we wouldn't excel at all. These traps are very weak. You ever play any stand-up hockey at all? Since you got the prosthetic, you throw some skates on?
I play street hockey out in the cul-de-sac with my friends in the neighborhood. I'm a whiz at that. I think I'm pretty good, but whatever.
I mean, you're the only gold medalist in the neighborhood. So.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for sure.
They just turned 21. Break that out at the bar.
So I read that your first time with the national team, it was you said, quote, that it was a tough season due to your lack of confidence. What made it so tough? I mean, what wasn't working, and was it just the mental stuff, or what was it?
So I'm not sure like how much you guys know about this, but originally when I was picked for the team, I personally felt like it was not my time, and which is fine. But
A little premature, maybe.
Yeah, but there were players on the team who expressed that I was ready and that I could take the next step. And the coaching staff, headed by Jeff Sauer, also believed that I was ready for the jump to the national team. And sadly, the team was picked in July, and sadly he passed away in December, before we could go to the World Championships 5 months later. And that probably killed my confidence a bit.
Right.
They brought in a new coach, and hats off to Guy Goslin for all the work he did and everything. The system was just not like for me. Like he played more of like a fast, like grinding system, and I'm more of a puck possession forward. Like I'm gonna move the puck around and get it to open guy kind of thing.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, you what was that transformation from year 1 to year 2? Was there something that switched or something that clicked, or what was the development like for you?
I'd say that development like more or less happened from the after the Paralympics to the World Championships in 2019. I was just, and not that I wasn't working hard for the Paralympics. That was the hardest I've ever trained in my life. But I was extremely consistent with my workouts. I was gaining weight. Like I think I gained like maybe 10 pounds from the Paralympics to the next World Championships, and I had all the confidence in the world. I went from, I'm pretty certain I had 2 minutes and 30 seconds in the gold medal game in Pyeongchang. But
no, I think I looked. It was like 4:14. Don't sell yourself short.
4:14.
That's 4 more minutes. That's 4 more minutes of a gold medal game I've ever played in.
Right. But in the gold medal game a year later at the World Championships in Ostrava, I think I played like 19 or 20 minutes as a forward. So
getting those Duncan Keith minutes up front.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've been fact checked a couple times here, but I did some digging. Nicknames Peaches. Is that what the boys call you, or is that a family nickname, or
where's that come from?
What do the boys call you in the locker room?
As you can, I'll explain the story, and then I'm showing you a real life example now. But so we had I think it was like my second camp with the national team. We had a joint camp with the development team. They like to get like all the guys together, see where everyone's at. Like it's good competition. Everyone loves it. And we had a meeting with USADA, which is the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, and they were doing like a presentation for us. And at the end, they were answering questions and like asking questions. And if you answered a question or asked a question, you got like a prize. And I was feeling a little bit confident, and I asked some kind of not like backhand question, but like a sarcastic, like haha, like joking question. And the lady who was giving the presentation said to me, "Well, when you make the national team, you'll find out." Not knowing that I was already on the national team and had already been drug tested, and everyone started laughing at me and everything. My face got all bright red pink that you're seeing now. And someone said, "Man, Noah's face is so red it looks like a peach." And like with the peach fuzz I got on my face and everything,
Yeah, that's funny as hell.
Man, we couldn't have been like apples. You could, I mean,
Yeah,
your
they
puck
go with
possession.
peaches.
Yeah, you want to
Oh,
find the
yeah.
open player. Maybe we can change that. Noah apples.
Maybe.
I love it though. So, like we said, we just kind of talked about it. You said you're kind of a puck moving guy. I mean, I was going to ask you what your role is on a team. I mean, sniper, grinder, like you said, Backstrom-esque, maybe this puck moving guy. But is there any player in the NHL you kind of try to model your game after, that style you like any way?
A lot of like the film I've been so yeah, I believe that I'm more of like a puck mover, like possession forward, like I can get the puck to the open guy and they go score the goal. Kind of like a Backstrom-esque, but lately I've been watching a lot of film on guys who also focus more on the defensive side. That's kind of where I need to improve my game, being like so small. So one of the guys I've been watching
some
a lot.
two-way.
Yeah. I think that would like help complete my game a bit more. And someone I've been watching has been Brad Marchand.
Oh, come on.
Other than
watch like Sean Couturier or something.
He's a little bit too big for me. See, Brad.
You're already watching
Brad's closer
Boston,
to
and
my
you're not
size.
watching Bergeron? Come on.
Yeah.
He's more, but Brad's more like my size and
True,
all that stuff. So.
Oh, so can you take us through your first international goal? What was that like?
The first time wearing that Team USA jersey.
I don't think I scored my first goal until like my 4th or 5th game. I think people started ragging on me because I'd been scoring in practices and stuff, and they were like, "Oh, well, you haven't gotten your first goal yet," kind of thing.
It only took you 4 games in international competition.
Yeah, right. But we were playing Germany at Worlds in
Okay.
2017, and we were already up 6-0, and coach was playing me a lot just so I could try to get like that first goal, and I was the center on that line at that point. I ended up getting moved later in the tournament, but I got thrown out of the face-off circle, and we had someone else come in and take the face-off, and he lost it directly back. Well, every single time they hadn't set a defender on the goal line there, and Germany had been playing like really compact, like in their defense. Like if you took the puck around the net, like they weren't going to challenge you like at all. Like they were just going to let you go like all the way around.
They're packing it in and making you do all the work.
Yeah. And so the German center won it straight back, right to the goal line. I picked the puck up, got it behind the net, picked my head up, and saw that they weren't coming like to me. So I had
You Michiganed it.
No, I didn't Michigan it, but I did like go around the net like left-handed, and roofed it backhanded. That was my first international goal.
Dude, I feel like I feel like most, like every time I'm watching sled hockey, it's just nonstop snipes. Like every goal is just bar down and roofed snipes.
Yeah, a lot of the goalies aren't as good, like up top, just because like they're sitting down. But actually, some of the better goalies in the world, for some odd reason, shooting low on them is like the way to go. I'm not quite sure why, but
okay.
So after you won the gold medal, you got to meet Ovi, you got to see the cup. Like, what was that like? That had to be pretty awesome. Like two champs, top of the sport. Like, what was that experience like? And I mean, it sounds like you're a Boston fan, but that's still gonna be pretty freaking cool, right?
No, I'm a Caps fan. Caps.
Okay.
I was super psyched when they won the cup. So he came with the cup. Ovechkin came with the cup to Georgetown Pediatric Hospital. And they invited me to come, see the cup, bring the gold medal, get some pictures, that kind of thing. He was so drunk. It was hilarious.
At the hospital?
Yeah, you could smell it on him. I mean, it was like 4 days after like they won the cup. Like
that's awesome.
He's partying for months after.
That's so sick.
But
and
it was super
you
cool.
took the gold medal and like, I wish you had one of these, didn't you?
Yeah, right.
I was wearing it and like you could tell he was out of it, like, and he just kind of looked at it. He was like, "Oh, that's cool." I was like, sick, thanks. But yeah, it was super cool, like getting to meet him and getting to hold the cup and everything. I know some people don't like it that you get to hold the cup, but it's only a once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah,
well, you have a gold medal. You have a gold medal. Tell him, hey, you can hold my gold medal while I pick the cup up here.
Yeah,
right. Like a little give and take here, Ovi. You don't have one of these, I don't have one of those. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be dogging a guy like that, but I kind of want to go back to the 2018 Paralympics where you said, that after that is when you really kind of improved your game. But I mean, still 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. I'm sure you remember those 2 goals big time. Was one of them that German goal, or was that 2 different goals?
One was the first goal against Italy in the semifinal game, and the other was against Japan.
So you opened the scoring in the semifinal. What was that like? And take us through that goal a little bit.
So we had started off pretty rough. Normally, against teams other than Canada, we would have scored like 5 minutes into the game, but I think there was like 2 minutes left in the period, and we were like struggling against them. And they might have shut us out in the first period. So it was either late in the first or early in the second. Nico Landeros, one of the defensemen, was coming on a break. He shot the puck just hard on net. Goalie bounced it up into the air, like he saved it like straight up into the air, and the puck landed in the crease, and I got there just in time and just chop goaled it in from inside the crease.
Love it. So we kind of mentioned this earlier, but playing on that U.S. national team and some other high-level sled teams, I'm sure you've met a ton of guys with incredible stories, whether that was former military, maybe some guys like in your situation that had the cancer and had to get an amputation or something like that. But I'm curious if there's one guy who had a story that really stuck out to you that you kind of will always remember, maybe like one guy in his story that really meant a lot to you or anything.
Yeah. So this summer when like COVID really started hitting, and we were doing like weekly Zoom calls with the national team.
Right.
We maybe it was earlier than that. I think it was like January, like right before COVID like really hit. We had a camp. And it was around the time of like the Black Lives Matter movement. And our team, like the sled hockey team, is pretty diverse. Like we have a lot of people from different backgrounds, whether it's military or ethnicity or, whatever. And I remember sitting in the room and the coaches had the guys who are not not white. They came up and they told their stories about growing up and all the shit they've been through and everything, and that stuff really stuck out. Like I think to everyone on the team, including the guys who had shared their stories, and it was just stuff like, wow, like these are our brothers, and like this is the hard shit that they've gone through, and that stuff like really inspired me. I think like we became really close as a team.
So on the to lighten it a little bit, is there guys? I mean, I know you guys have to travel a lot, and when you get together, it's probably a lot of business. But are you guys still pulling, typical locker room pranks? Or is there guys on the team that you always have to be on the lookout for? Or who's the guy in the locker room?
And what's your role?
Yeah,
like, are you on the aux? Are you the DJ? Like,
no. I'd say I'm kind of like the little brother on the team. I'm not the youngest anymore, but I look the youngest. So
Beaches, baby.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Being the youngest, you get away with some. I know from experience.
Yeah, I definitely get away with some shenanigans, like say like a joke or something. I'll definitely get away with it. But yeah, like I get the typical like little brother treatment, like kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, we talk like every day. Like we have our group chats on the national team, and someone is saying something every day, whether it's like to promote something or whether it's like banter about the Super Bowl upcoming. Like
right.
there's always something to talk about on the national team.
So you've got to travel a ton. What are the places that have stuck out the most to you, whether it's been the people or the food or the view? Like what are some of the favorite places you've been to so far?
Korea is definitely up there. That was super cool. Like just being able to like be in the village, like all the ceremonies and everything. The food, like we're huge Asian cuisine fans on the national team. Everyone eats it. So when we were able to go down downtown Gangneung, we were able to get some Korean barbecue, which was super cool.
Like the legit, real Korean barbecue.
Yeah,
baby.
it was awesome. And then when we went to Ostrava, we took a day trip to Prague, which was super cool. That probably the most beautiful city I've ever seen in my life. And right before the Paralympics, we had a trip to Turin, Italy. And the food there, I've never had better food. That we all ate good for a week straight. That's for sure.
For someone that didn't want to play hockey, it seems like it's going pretty well, man.
Thank you. I love it. I'm hooked to it.
Kind of want to build off that last question, Bob. What are the worst countries you've been to? Where's the place you showed up to and you're like, when are we getting the hell out of here? Like, should we lose so we can leave earlier?
Right.
Any brutal hotels or like just bad travel nightmares?
So there's a tournament every year that Canada hosts called the Canadian, I think it's now called like the Canadian Tire Para Ice Hockey Cup or something like that. And we always go down there. It's us, Canada, and they'll invite like some other teams like Korea, Czech, Russia. And one of the times we stayed there in Prince Edward Island, the hotel we were staying at, the food they served was terrible.
Like, PEI is supposed to be beautiful, isn't it?
Not in December.
No.
No, it was raining every day. It was so cold. And the food at the hotel that they were serving us was not great by any means. So we would come in for lunch or breakfast and we would sit down and we'd look at it and we'd be like, Coach, we're going to the cafe across the street and get lunch or breakfast.
Well, you'll have to ask Coach Gorder about the cafeteria food in Botano, because it is I'm sure it's probably worse than the Prince Edward Island Hotel.
I'll be sure to ask him about that.
So let's continue the trend of Canada being bad here, and let's talk about that gold medal game, the 2-1 OT winner. Talk about that game as a whole. I mean, that's a 1-0 game, Canada, seemingly that entire game, and then I think it's like 40 or 50 seconds left. It's a tie game, and then it's an OT winner. And I mean, I've won some big games in my life, but I've never won a gold medal game. So what were the emotions like for you and the team and all that stuff?
Yeah, so what had happened was I think like later in the first period, we were playing like really sloppy, and we were forechecking down their zone. One guy missed his mark, and then so it was 4-on-3 coming back the other way. I did not get on my man in time, and he made the pass across, and that guy ended up scoring to go up 1-0. I actually didn't play the rest of the game after that, to be honest with you, which is fine. I mean, we did what we needed to do to win. But I think at first, like I kind of felt like worthless, like useless. But I realized like quickly that hey, we're playing for something bigger than my emotions and my feelings right now. Like we gotta fucking win this shit.
Hell yeah, baby. Love it.
So I've only got two more questions for you. Last one is, I know you said you grew up playing a bunch of able-bodied sports, your big soccer family, but you're hooked on hockey now. What's the true passion as far as sports go? I mean, you got to play football, you got to play on the able-body and para level. Like what's the favorite, I would say?
Definitely hockey. I
Okay,
mean,
all right.
I
I
had
didn't
my
mean to put you on the
dabble.
spot.
I had my dabble with amputee soccer. I played on the national team for like
Not a
3 or
big
4
deal.
years. Yeah, not a
Yeah.
big
Dual
deal,
sport national team.
right? I went to the World Cup at 15. Like no big deal. It's
Yeah.
not a
No big deal.
right?
I told you he's gonna be
Couple
bringing the gold
tires.
medal out to the bar. Oh, I forgot to take this off?
I actually hate the
Damn it
attention. Like
again.
I
I'm
would
sure.
not bring that out for sure.
I'm sure. I'm just busting your balls, man.
I know.
So I've only got one more, Billman. But obviously we Googled you, and one of the first things I clicked on was the Children's Cancer Foundation. Is there a specific community or fundraiser or group that you work with, either with the program or locally, that quick plug for?
Yeah, the Children's Cancer Foundation for sure. I go out to their gala every year. Unfortunately, not this year because of COVID. But my family used to run a wiffle ball tournament where we would raise money for the Georgetown Pediatric Center. Um, just raising money, like helping out, like with research and stuff. And we would probably make upwards of like 15K a year just to donate to them and everything. But yeah, the Childhood Cancer Foundation and Georgetown Pediatric Cancer Center are my two big ones.
So when these things pop up, you got to send us some links, and we'll be firing it all over the social media.
All right, yeah, for sure I will.
Last one I got is it's just kind of a simple one, maybe simple, may not be, but kind of what's next, or what does the future hold for Peaches here? I mean, is it just continuous? I mean, you're a young kid still. You got a lot of hockey left in you. Are you about to just rack up, see
Well,
how
and
many gold medals we can get here,
are
or
you
world
still in school for
championships?
biomed? Like, what's the?
No, so I ended
Okay.
up changing my major to family and human sciences. So I'm on the child life track and
Another big brain guest, Billman.
No, we got to stop getting these big brain guys on, man. They're making me feel dumb.
yeah, so I decided to choose this route just because like when I was going through chemo, one of the biggest supporters for me and one of the most influential people in the hospital was my child life specialist. So that's something that really hit home for me. I'd like to play hockey as long as I can, obviously, health permitting. So I'm going to continue like be in shape, be the best that I can be. I am on pace to graduate from Towson in fall of 22. So I'll take that spring semester off for the Paralympics and then graduate in the fall. And then after that, the sky's the limit. I'd like to go till at least 26. But I know I can definitely go to more if
Why 26?
I feel like that would just be a good like stopping point.
Because I feel like that age range is kind of like when athletes hit their prime and whatnot.
Is that something you could ever go back to, or is it hard to get back once you take a leave?
Some guys have been able to come back successfully. Like Rico Roman, he took a year off, ended up making the national team. Jen Lee took a year off, spent a year on the development team, and then made the national team again. But I mean, as long as I can stay healthy, I'm going to continue to keep playing. And
I mean, Tom Brady's playing in his 10th freaking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I love studying like people who are successful like that, especially in sports, and the regimens and the workouts and the way he does what he does to stay healthy and fit.
Are we gonna get the Peach method here?
The Peach
No,
Method,
no,
baby.
no, no. The
The
Peach
Peach's
Method is
Performance Method coming
it's
soon at First Line Training Center.
it is not even close to the level that he is. He's on a whole nother level. But stuff like that inspires me to work harder every day.
That's awesome, man. We're gonna have to. We were talking about it obviously pre-COVID, but getting a chirping skills comp down at Sandy spot here. We'll have to get you out there.
Oh yeah, I play at the end of practices. We play posts.
Mhm.
So hopefully we'll see if you guys can beat me.
Probably not. God damn it. We're gonna get crushed. But there it is, man. I mean, we really appreciate you coming on, Noah, and telling your story. It's incredible. I'm glad Sandy texted me about it, and we really appreciate, like you said, taking the time. And yeah, you've got an awesome story. And like I said, I hope you just continue to rack up gold medals, man. Like nothing. There's. It's cool wearing one, but like give it a couple years, and you're rocking 2 or 3. You're just gonna be like, yep.
Yeah, you're gonna have the take a picture biting it like all the X Games people.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll send that guys to you guys so you can post it on the social media.
Right on, man. Loves having you. Thanks for telling your story and support the Children's Cancer Network. It was at Georgetown Pediatrics, right? So awesome guest. Appreciate it, guys.